Good morning, friends. I wish I could have hopped on later. I was actually catching up with the live stream that ICT himself posted this morning. As you can see, I have some things outlined on my chart. It's a little cluttered right here, but he earlier this morning explained how in the London session we opened with the new day opening gap right here, came down, came up, took buy side liquidity. He broke down this fair value gap and gave some really valuable insight as to why this is a strong fair value gap. That was really, that was new. That was really valuable. How he tapped it, came down. He did say, so on this blue box right here is the 15-minute fair value gap that he called out. He said if we went below it, he would have to wait before the 9:30 to 10 a.m. open because he said he saw it difficult. He didn't want to subscribe to price coming down and taking the sell side just yet. As you can see, I have the daily wick for 2 days ago outlined here. So this is the daily wick high. I'm going to go to that on the top. So he's expecting bullish price, and I want to monitor this daily wick just because if we come down and tap it, maybe overlap it just a little bit and then react off of it, that is something that could send us higher, because it would be called an immediate rebalance. Since we do have CPI tomorrow, there's a chance that price action just decides it wants to only generate liquidity. So as you can see, probably we'll just focus more on reading price today than taking any trades. Right here, top left, I have the consequent encroachment of this 4-hour wick. And then don't have much going down from the 1 minute, mostly on the 15. So, as you know, price either goes in one direction to seek liquidity or inefficiencies. So we don't have many inefficiencies in here. So I'll be watching this gap right here on the 15-minute pretty closely to see if we get this candle body that's printing right now, this opening to close below it, because if we start closing below this, then the only reason we would go lower is for liquidity. There's no inefficiency in here. So we want to see how this candle body closes. I'm gonna draw it out on the chart just to make it a little more obvious. As you can see, some of these blue gaps have orange outlines in them. I have that orange outline there just in case I have anything overlapping right here. My color scheme, I won't explain it right now, but sometimes I'll put two blue boxes on top of each other, and I want the one to stand out. Okay, so we did exactly what I explained pretty quickly. We came down, touched the wick of the high from 2 days ago, and now it looks like our 15-minute won't even close below this, which makes sense. Now would be a great time for upward price action. What I'm going to highlight here is our opening range gap. I usually do that with a very light yellow tinge. I might even want it lighter than that. You just want to know it's there, but I don't want it to be too aggressive. I want it to be in the background and kind of fade away. So it seems like ICT is watching the charts this morning. We will be paying close attention to anything he has to say as we are trading his concepts. I know he said he's gonna wait to see the opening range, which is 9:30 to 10, before he forms any type of bias. We will also do the same. Right now, I'm noticing the bodies of these 15-minute candles are closing right at consequent encroachment of this 15-minute fair value gap. As I said, I'm just reiterating ICT here. The only reason the market moves is to fill in inefficiencies or go for liquidity. So below this 15-minute fair value gap, there's no inefficiency. It's just a lot of overlapping price. So what we have is liquidity. So if we close below this, then we'll likely see this. ICT himself said he found it hard to believe that we would go down here. But anything can happen. And obviously we came lower than he expected. He was expecting us not to break down below this 15-minute fair value gap. So that's why he's, saying I'm going to wait for the opening range, because we need more data. But right now, this fair value gap is kind of like my last line of support for bulls. Let's see how we react coming up into these two fair value gaps. Also, the fact that we have this opening range gap in yellow, might want to see price dig up into that. I never know where to put this. Put it on the top, maybe. What I think will really start to send price higher is getting above this high. Just bring awareness, we are now trading the December contract for NASDAQ. That is EQZ 2023. The volume on the contracts, I checked yesterday, they're very, very close. If you were to trade the NQU, the September contract, that probably wouldn't be any problem. The numbers our levels will not be the same, but price should still print in the same fashion. Okay, so on the 1 minute we open, have this come down, touch the wick high, daily wick high from 2 days ago. I really like that. On the daily, that constitutes an immediate rebalance on the daily chart. Came up with some force, created this BISI, and now you can see our candle bodies were respecting it. So the hourly candles are respecting this hourly BISI. You can see the candle bodies. And I like how we are not closing on the 4 hour above the consequent encroachment of that wick. This was a breaker that ICT talked about in the morning. I kind of moved it to the side because we came down below it, and he hasn't given too much information yet on. I know he's said before almost all of his PD arrays can be inversed, but I'm not too well versed in using breakers as inversions, so I kind of moved it off to the side once we came below it. But he called it out this morning because you can see we were respecting it nicely. So right here in the 1 minute, I'm watching these candle bodies kind of respect this 5 minute fair value gap. We're also at the 50% level of this opening range gap, as you can see. So that was something we reacted off of previously. We came up, broke down, closed below, came up right here, and on this swing high we closed just a few ticks below it, but now we're reacting off of it again. And our candle bodies are showing good respect of this 5 minute inversion all the way over here. I'm going to watch to see how this fair value gap supports price. Remember, we just don't want a body to close below this BISI. Very interesting price. We had all these down close delivery. Now we're returning it to the upside. Let's see where the dollar's at. So on the 5-minute dollar, it seems like we've been kind of working our way up, which I guess makes sense. As in the London session, we were working our way down, so good correlation there. We respected this fair value gap. BISI coming up. Gonna close above this 5-minute fair value gap. ICT just made a little tweet. He also highlighted this fair value gap that we were looking at. Good to see. So in terms of the blue, I have my higher time frame fair value gaps all color coded, but once I get both an hour below, I keep them all blue. Just because I didn't want to have about 8 different colors. So anything an hour or below is a blue fair value gap regarding boxes. I have a lot of overlapping boxes right now. Okay, so we are still reacting off of the midpoint of our opening range gap. So I'd want a close above the midway point of our opening range gap before expecting higher prices, which we could easily get. Looks like we took a little bit of buy side liquidity right here. ICT called that, just tweeted that out on Twitter or X. Still bouncing around at these levels. Candle bodies are still respecting that 5 minute. Looks like we're breaking above it now. Just watch, see if it wants to close above that. Okay, so we did get a close above it right there. That constitutes a close. Now let's see if it's going to show any willingness to move away. Because we got that close right here, but then it came rejected. Again, I've been noticing this reoccurring theme. He hasn't said it explicitly, but in my own studies, I've noticed it's always the fair value gap that kind of breaks structure. So he highlighted this fair value gap. If you notice, it's the fair value gap that they've got making all these like slightly higher, lower highs coming down. I mean, technically this is a higher high, but this one, it touches a level of interest and then immediately reacts, engulfs this swing high with a fair value gap, and that's usually the fair value gaps of interest, the ones that just take a swing high or a swing low. And it's like the first one of a price run, so we tapped here, and this is what really started this change in price. Cool, so we're showing a willingness to move away from this 5 minute fair value gap. We're also showing a willingness to go into the upper portion of this opening range gap outlined by the yellow box. We're making new structure on the 5 minute. Interesting. Heading back up towards the new day opening gap. It looks like we're targeting the London session highs. We're entering this big down close candle, this CBI. We also have this high, low, higher, high. We have this breaker structure right here on the 15-minute. I want to be wary of that. But then you could also argue we have this low, high, lower, low break and structure. So like this right here could also constitute a breaker in the opposite direction. I would like to listen to this one a little more, just because the narrative we seem to be building is for more upside price action, especially on the 5 and the 15-minute. ICT himself just tweeted to the buy side. So we're about to enter in the silver bullet range. I would do 2 right there. I'd be a buyer for 2 at this fair value gap. Targeting the top or the bottom of this new day opening gap. Might not get there. Might run without us. I don't know. Also coincides with what's looking like to shape up for a 3-minute fair value gap. Let's see if this enters. If we were to get an entry off that, I would set my stop there. Oh, stop didn't set. Set my stop there. Okay, let's see how our body closes. Okay, so we got a strong close. Okay, so we just took buy side right here. Let's watch this. Would not be expecting this to be coming back down. It might be retracing into this 5-minute. Okay. Gonna just watch a little longer. Okay. Coming up, tapping that. Get those off for now. I don't want to go short just because we're still above. I think we want to close in this opening range. I think we got this retracement because we just took liquidity on the 5 and 15-minute highs. So it kind of made us come back down. But it seems like we're not really respecting any PD array. Well, we'll see. Let's see on this close. Because this body closes inside or below this fair value gap. That'll be respecting some type of bullish. Okay. I would re-enter with my stop below the swing low. And then if we come down here, either where we are not in sync with price, just because we had this close above it and now we're coming back down. The 1 minute seems to not want to be respecting any kind that bullish order flow. But I like how on the 5 minute we seem to be reacting well off this 5 minute fair value gap. Ooh, that was a rough close. Yeah, really? I'm not liking that. I'm not liking how we're hesitating to close above this fair value gap. It's almost kind of treating it like bearish. I'm going to watch the consequent encroachment of this wick. I'm expecting it to want to return to the bottom of this new day opening gap. Right here. Okay. If we don't get a close above this fair value gap, I'm gonna look to exit just because I don't like how we're respecting. We already took a lot of buy side liquidity. If you notice, ICT's just tweeted. We took buy side on the 5-minute here, buy side here. You know, we might, this new day opening gap might not be needed. Okay, we're gonna close out here. Just take some risk off the table. No need to be in a low quality setup. And now we'll just watch. So as ITC broke down in his, explained that little tweet, we took buy side there, and then we took it there. You can see we also wicked right above 75% of our opening range gap. Coincides with this CBI. So we do have a lot of reasons to go lower or just chop around. Yeah, so ICT said he's closing his charts for the day. Makes sense. I think yesterday's price action was, it wasn't terrible. It was probably more of my trade management, but it wasn't super clean runs. It was kind of sloppy. Then today, also looking sloppy. I think one of the biggest things I was worried about with starting this channel was the need to feel like I have to trade in front of people. You know, because a lot of days, like normally I'm only trading 2 to 3 times a week. And today, or this week, it was already 2 back-to-back losses, Monday, Tuesday. But I'll show you guys the account. So we're kind of eating into last week's profits. Last week, we went 3 for 3. Opened yesterday with a small loss in the AM session. We had a small loss in the PM session. We were able to get that back. And then opening today, which you guys just saw, the 2 contracts. So I probably won't try and get this back in the PM session. I think once we get on the other side of CPI tomorrow, everything price-wise will start to run a lot smoother. You can just kind of tell, like, this is all really sloppy. After reacting off this daily wick high, I feel like we should have, if it wasn't leading up to CPI, we would have reacted off this daily wick high and then continued. It would have been, you know, a longer range day. It probably would have taken out these highs. But we're just kind of bouncing back and forth, waiting for the news tomorrow. And then you can see here, we respect this CBI, but then we can't come down, can't even get any run below it. Coming back above it, a whole lot of sloppy price action. News tomorrow is at, let's check, 8:30 a.m. This right here actually was, I was kind of focused on the silver bullet today, but this right here was a pretty good 2022 model. If you just see, we kind of swept it 5-minute liquidity to the downside, and then we broke structure, came back down for a fair value gap. So that right there would have been a good 2022 model to enter between 9:30 and 10, targeting these buy side liquidities. But now that we took the buy side on both of this, it's probably why we're kind of just chopping around in some slop right now. Seems like it does want to go for the bottom of that new day opening gap, but this was so sloppy to get there. Cool. I'm also going to log off. This first 15 minutes of this 10 a.m. window was absolutely atrocious. I've been just kind of like waiting off to see if we do reach the bottom of this new day opening gap, but even if we do, there's no guarantee, and it seems like price just kind of wants to do whatever it wants right now. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.